Welcome to the Billiard Network, your one-stop shop for the best in pool action matches from all over the world. And right now, we're taking you to the IDM Pool Club in Bucharest, Romania, where we have two of the current greatest rotation pool players in the world squaring off in a challenge match. This is Ko Pin-yi from Taiwan, Chinese Taipei, versus Shane Van Boening, newly crowned world 9-ball champion. They are in Bucharest, Germany to warm up for the upcoming Bucharest Open, which is being played from the 13th to the 16th, or 13th to the 15th of May we are, yes. And Shane's to break, it's a race to 13, here we go, 10-ball is the game. And Shane's break is awesome, as we are quite used to it, especially with the template rack. I'm going to be expecting him to make about 2-3 balls per game. Well, he's not hanging around either. Which noticeable or notable things we have to pay attention to in this rack? The brown 7 on the left side, near the left side pocket. Could be something that needs to be acutely addressed, or addressed with some quality cue ball placement. Right, so Shane wants to probably play position on the 5 by drawing his cue ball just above the 9 ball, I think. Make it stop just before it reaches the 9, and of course not behind the 9. That will give him a good angle. Oh, never mind me. He took the angle the other way around, which is kind of exactly the same angle, so if you can sketch the angle that I imagined, if you hold the angle exactly on the opposite side of your object ball, you can kind of do the same thing, really. That will usually be the case anyway. So a nice draw over to the left rail. Yep, you could call that pretty much perfect. You can choose to roll it in and play the 9 in the side, or stun draw it back for the 9 in the bottom right corner. So we are playing a race to 13. Nice little length in a 10-ball set, and it's winner breaks. I love it personally, to really see if yeah, you know, you get to see the potential high gear of a player. If you both have to break in an alternate fashion, then you break, you may run out, and the other guy breaks and may run out. But here, to do it consistently, and also the confidence it gives you after you've run out once or twice. You know, if you break them for the 3rd time, you have a little bit of fire in your belly, and you're in stroke, of course, as well. So it's, I'm really looking forward to seeing what unfolds in this match between two of the best. All right, 1-0 to Shane it is. So my name is Rico Dix, and we're nicely fast forwarding to cut out the racking, cut out the long thinking. I don't think there'll be much long thinking in this game, actually, but here we go, rack number 2. Alright, a little bit off on the cue ball, as you can see, a little bit top spin, a little bit too far to the right from where we're looking, and he did make a ball, but he didn't make the 2 balls that were racked below the 1 ball, which are the 2 where you would, the ones you usually go for, really. So he's got a shot on the 1. It's kind of half. He's gonna have to elevate his cue, but the 2 ball is below the 1 ball, so either he stuns it off of the 1 into the rail and out where the 1 ball is now. I think that will give him a shot. He doesn't have to draw it back all the way back down to this short rail, I believe. guess caused by him not hitting the break well enough. The cue ball had too much topspin and was off on the one, so he had to start his first shot, even though he got a good first chance. He had to start it from way more distance than he's used to. And here we go, Ko to the table. Pretty chuffed, I think, only being 1-0 down against what still many consider to be the best 10-ball breaker in the world, Shane Van Boening. But we'll see about Ko's break when that comes to the fore. So yeah, so from the 3 to the 5, 5 to the 6, need some tender love and care, some TLC. Yeah, I guess I would roll the cue ball straight off this short rail. Maybe not. Keep the other angle. Okay, so he's gonna play the 5-ball in the right side, I believe. I'm loving the Brunswick Gold Crown 5 that they're playing on. Shiny, quality table. It's the center court table at the IDM club in Bucharest, Romania. And it's going to be a fantastic tournament. But if you're watching this 2 years down the line, then it will not be, but it will have been a fantastic tournament. But if you're ever in Romania or near, please come to the IDM Pool Club in Bucharest. Fantastic club. And but if you're just chilling from home, or if you're on the way to work watching this on your phone, have a look in the Billiard Network library and all of the great pool matches we have got for you for your enjoyment. Alright, Ko ran into the 6. He's still alright, I guess. Now, I guess pure stop shot kind of tip position will drift his cue ball just above the 9 towards kind of like the template. Is that where he wants to be? In a way, he kind of wants to have a low angle so you can naturally roll towards the black 8. I think if he rolls the cue ball naturally, it's gonna go towards the 7, the top side of the 7, and that's a bit uncertain what's gonna happen there. So let's see what he's gonna do. Could bump into the 10. All good. As you can see, he caught the low side of the 10, so you know, a millimeter or two lower and he would have snookered himself. So that's why he kind of want to avoid bumping into balls. Both these players came here in preparation for the Bucharest Open. They just returned from Gibraltar playing the World Pool Masters, a 24 man and women invitational tournament. Shane at this point will have been here for about 2 or 3 days. He flew in a little bit earlier than Ko Pigny. Alright, so Ko squares us this match 1-all. Let's see if he can make the green 6 or the black 8 in the left and right side pockets respectively. Neither. But then we have the... Okay, so nor did he make the 4 rails, so the 2 corner balls, which I think in this case were the 2 and the 3. If they have freedom to roll, they can roll 4 rails around the table and then back into these left and right bottom corner pockets. So it's something to pay attention to. The other balls will most likely be wild ones. You can't really call them, but the 2 below the 1 ball to the side pocket and the 2 corner balls, 4 rails around the table, those are the ones you really want to pay attention to. Alright, so a bit disappointing from Ko, even though he was happy to come to the table, only 1-0 down. It's back to Shane to see if he can string some accuracy together playing position wise, and you can already see, even though it's a template rack with 10 balls left on the table, it makes it that bit harder than 9 ball, because 9 ball you're often left with 6-7 balls these days with the template racks. There's very little clusters, very little traffic to have to navigate. Whereas here everything is in the center of the table. And the center of the table is kind of where you want to have your cue ball often rolling around for position on your various balls. So he chose to play this 2-9 combo. Right, well, there's a few ways you could make the combo and your cue ball might still roll to the left or to the right of that 9 ball forward. That would probably still give him a shot, but it's not easy to make your cue ball stop where the 9 is or roll it exactly 100% into the 9. Well, it wasn't that difficult, Shane. Right. Inning over to Ko. What's he gonna do here, pool fans? He won't play the 2-9 combo. He could hit the ball straight ahead, which will make it go into the rail and in between the 4-9, and maybe hook him behind the 4-8. What would you do? What would you do at home? Keep thinking along here, and well, it's hard to send your answers on a postcard or comment below, because by that time the action will have happened. But did he get him? I guess he did. Shane's already unhappy. Game number 3. It's nice to see Shane's facial reactions, but it's good with Shane, I think, even though sometimes he shows his frustration or disgust, but you know, with these top players, it doesn't affect their next inning or their next shot. And I guess a lot of what I recognize in myself, or maybe you notice this in your own game, you know, as soon as you make a mistake and get frustrated, it's usually all, you know, like an uphill struggle from there. But these world top players, they are able to maybe sometimes show a little bit of frustration, but then don't let it reflect any further in the quality of the next shot and thereafter. So, deliberate foul, and I think he was able to close up the 3 ball, unless the 3 ball goes in the bottom right corner pocket. Well, probably not, or else he would have played it by now. The 4 is also still tied up with the 8, I think, even if, let's say, your cue ball was in the position where the green 6 is. I don't think you'd be able to cut the 4 ball in. Maybe you would be able to. It's hard to see from here. And we only have one camera angle this time, people. Man, I'm so excited about this match. You know, that you're able to watch 2 of these top players square off in a nice format. Long race, winner breaks, 10 ball. Love it. Hope you're enjoying it so far. Please do stick around and let us know in the comments who you would maybe like to see us show a match of. Alright, short on the cue ball speed. But yeah, please let us know any comments about this match, about who your favorite players are, so we can maybe, or we can definitely give you some of their matches. And yeah, we welcome any feedback. We'd love you to share this video. We'd love you to subscribe. That way you'll be notified whenever we have a cool match like this that we've posted, and it will be straight into your YouTube recommendations, which is the way I've got it set on my YouTube preferences. The Billiard Network subscriber is a happy pool fan, I can tell you. Alright, so wants to cut it extremely thin to not send it towards the corner. It's a good shot. Not easy. Not easy to do. Right, Shane calling the 3 ball. 10 balls a call shot game. So no flukes allowed. Pretty good hit. But this was also in the realm of possibilities. He was always going to hit it. He was always going to hit it pretty well. And this time didn't get away with it. Alright, so where the 3 ball is now, he would be able to see the 4. Okay, you can see what Ko is trying to how he's trying to place his cue ball. So yeah, I think he wants to, of course, as you've just seen, just draw his cue ball past the right side pocket, or let it come there. Yeah, so he's just checking out that angle. I think it will go, but he really needs to be close in line with that green 6 towards the 4, let's say that line, or just before. I think that's the one he's currently opting for, although he's going back and forth in his mind. Could go for the draw past the right side pocket, but then you're kind of bumping into balls again and you don't really know what's going to happen. Alright, what's this? What is this? Jump cue time. Might kick it actually, but there's, if he kicks it off this right rail, both balls are traveling in the same direction, so unless you make it, you're not really going to get away with it probably. So, jump cue time it is. Yeah, position on the 5 far from automatic. I don't know if he's able to avoid the 8 coming off of that rail, either above it or below it. That would be handy for position. If he avoids the 8, he would probably get position, because the 5 goes in all 4 corner pockets, I think. Pretty good hit. Not good enough. Alright, so these 7 balls, his position on the 5, always the most important one. Of course, the next position you're playing, but key shot in this rack. The rest is fairly connected dots. Of course, he has to bring the cue ball back from the 9-10. Bit of an angle. Alright, he's cueing down, so you almost think he's bringing the cue ball around 3 rails, starting it to the right off of the 4. Putting his extension back on the cue. Did he just take that off just for that shot? I missed that one. Anyway, let's pay attention if he takes his extension off and on the cue more often. Shane sporting the 9-ball merchandise shirt. It's hard to read, really. It's just there, at least in this camera view. Alright, Shane not really happy. I think he's so straight he has to, you know, give it like a tempo screw back, which is not easy to do, to leave your cue ball. I guess he wants it on, draw it back to the breaking line somewhere there abouts, which would be ideal. Or he might have the angle that he needs to stun it over for the 8 in the pocket near the 9. Never mind the tempo drawback. That was the Shane slam drawback. And what a difference it is in techniques between these two players. Shane more of a big stroke, long, and Ko is a bit more compact, a bit quicker in the backswing and forward swing in his last stroke execution than Shane is. Shane is a little bit slower backwards and a fairly short stab, often forward. Quite a lot of wrist action. Alright, 2-1 to Shane. Shane to break. So Shane looking to make 2 balls below the 1 or the 2 and the 3. Yeah, they both went in. Still, his cue ball had a little bit access topspin and still spinning off that bottom rail. You know what? I think he can actually, well, he can hit some of the 1 ball. I don't know if he can make it. And he's not walking back to the table in too much of a, doesn't look like the guy who's about to shoot his next run out or something. Scratching his neck. So, should he have to push out, where would you push out to? Something to think about. The push out situation is making a cluster of balls, but in 9 ball, which is not what we're playing now, that's often really hard with so few balls left on the table. I guess now he could roll the 8 into the 7 to prolong the game, so to not let this 1 ball be the be all and end all of this game, that whoever makes the 1 is, you know, most likely going to run out the level of these guys. If you make a cluster, then at least there's going to be a safety element, or someone has to break open that cluster in their run out sequence. So a lot more skill required, and I think that's what he's going to choose to do. Still not easy to roll the 8. Okay. Didn't even want to make the cluster. Interesting. I mean, he's never going to get this back, and you would imagine the cue ball going behind the red 3 here on the bottom rail, so zigzagging it, cutting the 1 ball on the right side with quite a bit of right spin. Could also hit the 1 ball about half ball on the left side and with a bit of spin try to get the cue ball behind the 2. Ko is opting for the bank and trying to leave, should he miss, and he wants to miss it on the short side so that the 1 ball travels back to the far short rail and the cue ball perhaps behind the 6-8. Good shot by Ko. Alright. Up and running. So a straight top spin down. Maybe a half a tip of right spin. To definitely not make his cue ball come towards the orange 5, but he really wants to send it probably towards the right side of the 3 ball. Yeah, careful with that. His tempo might be so good that he just rolled it in the realm of good positional possibilities. Alright, so pretty much back in prime position, maybe a little bit too much angle, but very maneuverable. So straight in shot on the 5 ball, or a little bit to the left of straight. Either way would do. This will do as well. Pretty specific angle required on the 6 ball to get to the 7. Let's say if he had position where he is now with the cue ball, that would be perfect, because then he could kind of draw the cue ball past the 8 towards the left long rail. That's not easy to get back there. Of course, there are more ways to skin a cat. So he left the other angle position. But with this one, probably not gonna stun it 2 rails out of the far right corner. So you're gonna draw it back over the kind of like the breaking line, and then it needs a lot of right spin. Zip. But just all in all, more quality required, more talent required. So Ko not in, you know, not in a groove yet, I think. So he wants to roll his cue ball towards the breaking line again. So you can kind of, in those instances, see where you need to be ideally. But of course, if he rolls his cue ball in this instance half a ball further, he would still be alright, as long as he doesn't under-roll it. looking at an even ball game. 2-all. Race to 13. If you have any questions about anything, well, pool related, let's say, then please let us know in the comments and we'll try to answer them as soon as we can, with an educated guess at least. Alright, coast break, both of the balls behind one, and that's what we have to pay attention to. They came too high, so they passed the side pocket and then hit the rail. So let's say if he would have broken exactly the same, but with his cue ball further to the left or right, then, well, to the right in this instance, so not straight on but more to the right, then he would have probably made one or two of those balls. So he may have to think either about speed change, maybe slight tip position change, or a cue ball positioning change on the break. Yeah, nice little rail first position by Shane, just got there to where he needed to be. So the 4-6 is what we're working towards here. How would you either break it open, or how would you play position on the 4? I think it goes... Oh, will it go like that? Maybe. Then he has to really at the perfect angle so he can screw it back off the 4 to go towards the orange 5. Not easy. I mean, the 4 does of course go into the pocket where his cue ball is now, top left. Maybe it goes bottom right. Yeah, you could stun it there, that would be a nice angle. You would have various options, either to break it open or to play position on the 4. Or you could stun it towards the orange 5 off of the 2. If his cue ball would be the orange 5 for position on the 3, then that would work as well. See, I think that's too much angle. Unless he still thinks the 4 ball just goes into this bottom left and he needs to stop it dead on the 3 or just stun it to the right, because I think he has a bit of an angle. But he definitely doesn't want to go forward off of this 3 ball. Who was only looking at the side pocket entry of that 3 ball? I was. Nice, but overcooked his cue ball, so his cue ball is going to fly a little bit, and we'll probably play position off 2 rails, so off the bottom rail, maybe even have check side. Okay, 3 rails. Nice. Just accepting this angle. He couldn't have come off any better off that rail to give himself a straighter shot on the 5 ball, but this will do just fine. Probably won't elect to hold his cue ball off of 1 rail, so we'll come across the table probably. So off the right rail, left, and back out again. Nice. So center table cue ball position would be great here on the 7. So where the 9 ball is, somewhere thereabouts. beautiful rhythm Shane has when he's, of course, when he's running out. I mean, a lot of people do, but Shane keeps that kind of like Strickland-like rhythm, isn't he? He's a true heir to the Earl de Pearl rhythm way of playing. Big stroke, confident. So Shane up 3-2 and breaking. So winner break format, race to 13, 10 ball is the game here. I think Shane will keep his cue ball in that position always, because he's been making balls. So look at the 2 balls behind the 1. Pop. Well, you only need 1. Right, so that's pretty ideal. The orange 5 needs to be played into the top left corner. But if he's straight in on the 3, which comes after this yellow 1, then he should be pretty much alright. Or is he thinking that if he makes it in the bottom right corner, that his cue ball will hit the bump of the side pocket? That's why he's maybe taking longer over the shot execution than we may have thought he would. Yeah. Could avoid that with a bit of a stun, but that makes the shot harder. Although he would be very good at those stun run-throughs. Alright, so overcooked his cue ball. Because with his cue ball stuck on the rail, impossible to give it any backspin without elevating your cue to about 180 degrees. So where do you think his cue ball will go? Will it just past the 9, into the rail, into the 7, into the 5? Hard to see. Yeah. Ooh, didn't hit a thing. I think Shane, no matter how many, well, I mean, he's a competitive player in every next second again, but of course winning the world 9-ball title that he did only a month ago will have given him quite some peace, I think. And how deserved was it? What a final Shane played to kind of shut out Albin's power from when it was about 5-all, 6-all. That was an amazing final. I was there watching it in Milton Keynes. Anyway, back to this game. So Ko may as well call a pocket. Yeah, so he's calling it in top right. He thinks he might hit the 8. Wants to maybe find protection behind the 8-9 if he can keep his cue ball hitting the 5 and making it turn left somewhat. Alright, hit it too straight, but that 5 is going to come back. So apologizing because he didn't hit it the way he kind of imagined he would. Shane's going to take out the jump stick. I find it quite strange, to be honest, in my personal opinion, players like this situation apologizing to the other player. I mean, if Ko would have left the 5-ball hanging over the pocket, it's not like Shane would have come to the table and apologized for being given such an easy next opportunity, isn't it? It's just the ball is round and stuff happens, isn't it? All right, Shane going for the pocket. Nice. So it's definitely not been Ko Pin-Yi in control at any point during this match because of two breaks that haven't really been good. My singing voice, by the way, in the background, that's my cat who's looking for a place to hide herself after dinner. Anyway, back to the game. What do you think? Do you think someone will eventually run more than one rack? One is the maximum at the moment. You would think with this level of players. So let's see what Shane can do. How many balls is he going to make off the break? I would say 3 this time. I mean, you wouldn't bet that with many players, but with him. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh man. 5, 6. Shane making 6 balls on the break, ladies and gentlemen. They're both chuckling away. Well, there's not much to play with anymore, is there? 2, 8, 9, 10. Would you believe it? Wow. I'm speechless. Yeah, with the template, you're gonna see Shane make 3-4 balls often. They're racked so consistently, exactly the same. Right. Shane Van Boening up 5 racks to 2 against Copigny. This is really a match of giant pool players. And I don't mean large in size, but more in quality of talent. Previous history of tournament wins. Alright. Alright, why don't you add another 4 balls on the break to that? Seeing if you're on a roll like that, this bank looks yummy, really. You're not going to play safe. You want to continue this. Yourself at the table, your opponent not at the table. So here we go. So position. And what's he going to do? Is he going to keep the cue ball there? It's not easy, really, because it's hard to swing his cue ball around the 9 3 rails in between the 6 9. Yeah, I was thinking if you can hold it somewhere where the 1 ball is, but that would leave a bit of the wrong angle to get from the 4 to the 6. You might power draw it. You'd rather hit this bank at a stun or hard speed than rolling it as well. Got away with it. Alright, so 2-railed kick for Copigny. Either to make it or to hit it off of the 2nd rail and make his cue ball travel towards us. Although if he hits it now off of 2 rails, he'll probably roll into the 9 or somewhere thereabouts. So he's kind of counting on making it. Yeah, there's the 9 ball. I don't know if that was the right choice. I mean, visually that was easier to kick, but the other direction would have had more chances to get away with it. Alright, so the 6 ball, a tiny bit more of a difficult proposition now. So wants to keep like a 45-degree angle on the 6 ball. Will need to almost with the 9 ball being there. But that will also enable him to bring the cue ball for position on the 8. So tiny angle on the 4 would be ideal, but this is not good because it's a straight, or actually the angle which will push his cue ball a tiny bit to the right of how we're looking. And the 6 is pretty much frozen on the rail, so it's, you know, it's not easy to. It's definitely not a gimme. So he needs to have his cue ball anywhere if you draw a line between the 6 and the 10 ball, he needs to be on the right side of that line. That will give him position. So he could go forward, avoid hitting the 10 off of 2 rails. Okay, so power draw. Back to the center of the table. Zip, or into the 9. Oh, wow. Nice. Nice. So he was counting on never getting like a really straight and as possible hit on the 6 ball. But that was like a safe way to play position. Nice one. I like that one. Good shot. Something to learn from. Lots to learn in this video, actually. And lots to learn in most videos that the Billiard Network is giving you to watch on the fabulous YouTube video platform. Alright, a bit of a distance here, and it's a bit of an annoying shot because you can't really roll it with the right spin. The cue ball won't really go back and forth and come back for the same position on the 9 where the 8 is now. So you have to kind of give it a tiny bit of backspin or make that count when it reaches the 8. Yeah, see, here we go. Don't come behind the 9 or the 10. Yeah, it was a bit of an in-betweener, that shot. Not easy. But this should be all right for Shane. Again, kind of an in-between tip position. It's kind of like a center ball, if you can imagine, like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock tip position. Ooh. Yeah, nice cue ball in it. Oh, sorry. Did he want to come across twice there? I doubt it. Well, maybe he did. Who knows? Here we go. Shane for 6-2. There it is. So Ko actually, in these 8 games, has never really shown any period of dominance, being in control, having Shane, snookered or something. I mean, if this were hand rack 10 ball, even if a ref would rack or an opponent would rack, those 2 balls below the 1 would go in very regular for Shane. Just the way he pops that cue ball, the way he hits it, the speed, everything, timing to it. But with this template rack, it's like, you can bet on him making those balls, and it's kind of like having the matchroom style 9 ball with the 1 on the spot, kind of like you're giving the corner ball. Well, Shane is given the one at least of the 2 balls behind the 1 ball, not us mere mortal pool players. Kind of everybody wants to break like Shane in 10 ball. Right, so wants to bring his cue ball kind of back in the direction where it is now, maybe a little bit straighter off this bottom rail. But wants to shoot the orange 5 in the same pocket, I would imagine, unless it goes into the side pocket where the 8 is. Yeah. Come up, cue ball. You don't want to be moving the 9 or rolling into the 9. I think he's just going to be able to avoid that and bring his cue ball over to the right side of the table, just below the right side pocket. So not very often ideal position kind of in this race so far, is it? I mean, it doesn't really matter if you still run out in the end, but it's, if you can envision, Shane is of course envisioning, the ideal angles, ideal positions, and if that doesn't come off, you're made to work quite a bit harder. You need to show more of your talents, which, you kind of want to keep in the bag for when they're required. So this is rack number 2 for Shane. Of consecutive break and runs. Let's see if he can increase that. Alright. In the meantime, please do have a look through the Billiard Network library, where we have lots of great pool matches and legendary commentators as well. We have a whole series of matches with Earl the Pearl Strickland commentating for you, and well, you know, when is it not good to hear Earl talk when he's maybe not playing himself? But he's a great guy to listen to, and of course one of the all-time greats. Alright, here goes Shane for rack number 3. Ooh, missed both the side pocket balls, but made the 4-rail 2-ball. So now, with the 3 only kind of being available in the bottom right corner pocket, he kind of wants to spin his cue ball towards the brown 7, or you know, in between the brown 7 and the 9, off of that top short rail. So hit this about half ball, and then make the spin take over. You know, I guess just guide your cue ball that you don't want to scratch in the side. And then tempo. Well, never mind what I was thinking. He's playing the position I thought he would. It's alright, I guess. I mean, don't contradict the world 9-ball champion, I'd say. Not at the moment, anyway. So again, 3-rail position required, I believe. Or is he going to screw it back? Nice. So taking his medicine, just accepting that this was his best chance of running out, taking the long shot on the 4 now, with the 5 being over the corner pocket. So no position required, although normally he would like to stun this, and that would bring his cue ball towards the 8. That's kind of like his ideal stroke speed, and that's the direction his cue ball would take, so straight to the left. So he will either need to give it a bit more draw or a bit less. I think a bit more in Shane's case. You don't want to roll this zip. Yeah, see, you don't really want to be hitting that 8 ball. Ooh, just cleared. Yep. So now the 7 and 9, of course, are 2 walls to avoid getting behind for your position on the green 6. Of course, if you stop it dead there, you'd have position. You could do that, or just draw it back ever so slightly. But that's not Shane. Nice. I mean, what were the chances of hooking himself behind the 10 ball? I think he's breathing a sigh of relief there. So this is, or is he actually semi-snookered? No, he'll be alright. I mean, he would love to stay where the 6 ball is now for position from the 7 to the 8. But I think either way, it's a stay of execution for Copigny at the moment. I think Shane is going to take it from 7 to 8-2. I guess with these cue extensions, players need more room around the table almost, isn't it? That board of past champions that you see on your right side almost needs to be put further away with the players with their cue extensions. Again, Shane not really happy with his, whether it be cue ball speed or just, you know, just hitting his object balls that he's pocketing a little bit too thick or too thin. Nice, a lot of spin left on that cue ball off that 2nd rail, as you could see it come to life. Definitely not scratching the bottom left corner pocket. Woo. Alright, here we go. Potentially Shane's fourth break and run out. Making the 4 on the side. I mean, that's the one he seems to always be making. I mean, to be honest, I would never agree to play a template rack while playing anybody for money, but you know, especially Shane. It's just, look at it, you know, he's been playing like 6. He's been playing 4 ball, 6 ball, 7 ball in the last 3 racks. Amazing. I would say, you know, even though it takes away a lot of racking discussions, but I would say the template is for amateur players to get a nice tight rack. But this is just too easy for the best pros in the world. Alright, so rack number 4 coming up. I mean, there's not much to commentate on, is there? It's so straightforward almost. It's like he's playing template rack 9 ball. But yeah, he's kind of earned it with a break like that. So consistent in speed, so consistent in hit on the 1 ball. A certain type of the cue ball leaving the bed of the table after it hits the 1 ball, or even before it hits the 1 ball, and that's the way he makes the racks disperse. You know, it's just a little bit different than everybody else does it, isn't it? And he does it so consistent. Right, so rack number 4 brings Shane up 9 games to 2. We have a race to 13 we're playing currently. I would imagine this challenge match will continue after this set. I think these players, you know, they're just happy to be playing each other in a nice and on a good table, good race, winner breaks. So good times for them and great times for us to be able to watch it here on the Billiard Network. Do subscribe. Do let us know in the comments what you think of this match, about which matches you'd like to see. Alright, Shane made another 14 balls on the break. 1, 2, 3. 3 on the break this time. Alright, this cue ball needs to travel from the 1 to the blue 2 that's down at the bottom left, or the bottom short rail here. So is he gonna come 3 rails around, or is he gonna give it some right spin and make it come straight back off of that top short rail? Avoid hitting the 8, and then it should be alright. Wants to keep a bit of an angle to work it towards the pink 4 off of the blue 2. You haven't been able to see the blue 2 because Shane's standing in front of it. Alright, so aiming bottom right. Zip. Avoid that traffic. Should be alright. So the 5 ball doesn't go into the side pocket, so Shane is a little bit annoyed that he doesn't have more angle to maneuver his cue ball more easily towards the pink 4 to move it up table. Just too low of a cue ball tip position hit made his cue ball come back. So the cue ball doesn't lie. I mean, that direction took off the 2 ball. You would have had to have hit it at least half a tip below center, and he wanted to kind of hit it center ball to make it come directly off the rail and come straight up the table. Still has a cut on this 4 ball, but position on the 5 is far from natural, so he could cut this in with a bit of right spin and even come off the top short rail and bump into the orange 5. He's now looking, wants to cut it in the opposite corner pocket. I mean, both cuts are, yeah, both are about the most extreme cuts you would kind of attempt. About 85 degrees cut is the most you should be trying, really. Alright, what does the champ do? Oh, nice. Ooh, 5 ball's gonna, yeah. Never really know what's going to happen if you bump into balls at that speed. So he has kind of about the same cut available at the moment. You think you'll play safe if you've just been running 4 racks and this is your 5th? Yeah, I think so. Okay, lost count. I don't think you want to be playing this safe. You know, you want to keep your opponent in his seat, keep yourself at the table, keep the flow going. You're confident from the last 4 racks. Here we go. Good tempo. Good direction of cue ball. Nice. Alright. And now he's kind of back in line. Maybe a little bit more angle than he wished for. But he should be alright. Alright, so Ko's been warming up his seat there. Cobwebs growing on Ko's cue. Maybe on himself as well. And Shane is about to take a 10-2 lead. Boom. Alright. Rack number 12. It's nice that Ko puts Shane's score up, isn't it? I mean, I kind of like to do it myself, really, so you always know when you've done it. Sometimes you're like, alright, did I forget to do it? Did you do it? But hey, here we go. Shane for potential rack number 6. Well, he only made 5 balls on the break this time. Wow. So he's making both balls below the 1 ball in the side pockets. He's making both balls that are racked on the corner, the 2 and the 3, they go in around the table 4 rails and come back in these bottom left and right corner pockets. And he made another wild one as well. Ko was kind of laughing, stretching. Yeah, amazing how, like I said, how consistent Shane breaks, especially with this template format. And he's just got it down. Only the second break of this set was he slightly off on the cue ball. Still got a shot, but then missed that 1 ball, if you remember. But this format, Shane is just kind of, you know, he's gone through all the level of this computer game and he's just too good almost. Alright. Rack number 6. 11-2 for Shane at the moment. Race to 13 we're playing in this set. I'm pretty sure they're going to play another one, and I'm pretty sure the Billiard Network will be posting that, so be on the lookout for that match as well. Pop goes the cue ball. In went the 9, in went the 4. Oh yeah, the 1 ball's hanging over the pocket. Nice. Shane's one of the... yeah, he does control the 1 ball pretty well there. He makes it drift towards that corner pocket. And of course with his cue ball kind of bouncing back past the middle of the table, often is left with a nice shot on the 1. So Shane must be feeling pretty sweet at the moment, just being in that rhythm, you know, of running 5 racks against what is essentially a very dangerous opponent. Alright, a bit more on the 10 than he wished. Should be able to cut this in. Impossible to avoid hitting the 6, I would imagine, so just take your medicine, run into the 6 and take the cut on the 5. He didn't want to hit the 6 that far on the side. Is this the end of the Shane run out pack? Does this cut into the left side? I mean, he seems pretty... it's not like he's thinking about much else than running out, I believe. Wow, Shane's about to run 7 racks of 10 ball at the IDM Pool Club in Bucharest, Romania, against Ko Pin-Yi, one of the, in the last 10 years, top 10 pool players in the world, and that's not easy to either become, or to keep being top 10 player. Of course, you rank Shane in that elite company, but so would you Ko Pin-Yi, although he hasn't been around the last 2 years because of the pandemic. He's only been playing in his home country, but now he's back on the scene. Not in this match that much, I have to say. He's been kept in his chair by the excellent play by SVB. So Shane 1 rack away from closing out this set. 12-2 he leads. Of course, that's the way pool is. Ko may beat Shane in this next set, which I think they'll be playing and will be posting. Ko might easily beat Shane 13-6 next set. Alright. 5 balls on the break. Ko's just laughing. And probably thinking, I need a break like that. Because Ko is a good breaker. But, and you could name many great 10 ball breakers. But just no one breaks him like Shane, do they? So from 5-2 in this set, Shane got a chance and never let Ko Pin-Yi back to the table, at least until now. But yeah, this is curtains, isn't it? Roll the cue ball off the top rail, let it come out for about a 30-40 degree angle. Cha-ching. Alright, this 10 ball for an 8-pack by Shane Van Boening over Ko Pin-Yi. Thanks for joining us. Please do come back to the Billiard Network. Here we go. That was it. Shaking hands. Ko's coming to the table and he's probably asking Shane, teach me, master, teach me, master. Wow, that was good. Shane, or Ko's little brother there, also laughing. Well, what can you do, isn't it? So that was it. Well, Ko's racking the balls and looking to the right. Thanks for joining. Join us again sometime.
The same trick.